Is the new Galaxy S8 from Samsung. Power it on and all you'll see is display. Up front, there are no buttons, no fingerprint sensor, no borders, not even the Samsung logo. Just enough space for a selfie camera and an iris scanner. In our heads, this is what the smartphone of the future looks like. No longer just a phone with a big screen, but a seamless, solid object. A futuristic slab of glass with a computer built in. Where looks, design, and build quality is concerned, the Galaxy S8 is not only the best-looking smartphone Samsung has ever made, it's also the best-looking phone we've seen thus far. The product of an 8-year evolution in Samsung's design sensibilities. 2 years ago, in 2015, this evolution hit a milestone when Samsung announced the S6 Edge, a phone fused of curved glass and metal. Back then, these dual-edged curves made it the sexiest-looking smartphone we'd seen, but it was more aesthetic than practical. The S8 represents the most beloved aspects of that design, with features that you want, need, and expect. When you pick up the S8, the first thing that grabs you is its length and width. It feels less wide than what I'm used to, but much longer. Because it isn't very wide, I can comfortably wrap my fingers around the phone without straining. The S8 Plus 2 is surprisingly easy to hold with one hand, even if, like the S8, it has a much bigger screen than its predecessor. These new phones have 5.8-inch and 6.22-inch displays respectively. Back in the day, when you said a phone had that big a display, you'd immediately think humongous. Samsung calls it an infinity display because it mimics an infinity pool that tapers off into the horizon. These edge panels aren't without purpose. You can swipe in to access frequently called contacts or favorite apps, and a set of tools that make clippings and screenshots easier. Some of these tools were only once available on the Note series. And when you get a notification or a call, the edges glow based on a color of your choosing. It's the first time Samsung's been willing to remove its logo from the front of the device, something we've wanted for some time now. Because of this, everything looks sleek and seamless, but still undoubtedly Samsung. Back, home, and menu buttons are now on screen, but there's a new physical button on its left side dedicated for summoning the phone's new personal digital assistant, Bixby. Above that is the volume rocker, and on the right side, the power button, and a hybrid SIM card tray. In some regions, the phone will be dual SIM. There's also space for a micro SD card for up to 256 gigabytes of extra storage. Now a feature we've come to expect from every high-end smartphone, the new S8, like its predecessor, is water and dust resistant. Its IP68 rating means you can submerge it in shallow fresh water for up to 30 minutes. But think of it as protection against spills. The occasional rinse in the sink, rain, or when you want to use your phone for a quick minute in the tub or the pool. The display still responds on wet, and when its ports detect too much moisture, you'll get this warning, so you can hold off from connecting to a power source till it dries. In our recent smartphone camera shootout, last year's S7 held its own against the likes of the Google Pixel that were over 6 months newer. The S7's camera was that good, so we expect the S8 to be no slouch as a camera also. While many manufacturers, including its fiercest rival Apple, have gone for dual camera setups, the S8 has only one still. On paper, the main camera looks pretty much unchanged with its large dual pixel sensor and f1.7 aperture among its features. But in our initial tests, the S8 takes even better photos than the S7. Take a look at these samples. And with a slightly wider angle lens. If you've used or held the S7 or own an iPhone 7, you'll be happy to know that the S8 doesn't have a camera bump. Other improvements come by way of built-in intelligence. Bixby Vision lets you point at a landmark and it brings up important information about that place. You can point your camera at a bottle of wine and the S8 will let you know if it's a good buy. It can scan barcodes, translate text, or look up objects on Pinterest, and soon you'll be able to point at an object and buy it off Amazon. If you love selfies and Snapchat, you'll like the new and improved selfie camera, up to 8 megapixels from 5. And and the new stickers and stamps feature. Just tap on this bear icon to bring up the stickers menu. All of these are built into the camera app and work with photos and videos using both the selfie camera and the main camera. We didn't have the time to go through all the different stickers, but are pretty confident millennials will love this feature as much as we enjoyed fooling around with it. We briefly touched on Samsung's new personal assistant Bixby, which is supposed to rival Siri on the iPhone or Assistant on the Google Pixel. Currently in beta, the grand vision for Bixby is a whole new way of interacting with your phone with just your voice. Samsung also promises it will one day work with its range of digital appliances, so you should hypothetically be able to ask Bixby to start a wash or turn off the TV. Samsung is also opening Bixby up to third-party services and apps. Its success depends on it. Beside the main camera on the phone's backside is its fingerprint sensor. There's literally no more space for it up front. If we had one complaint about the S8, it would be this placement. Way too close to the camera for comfort. If you're not careful, your camera will often end up with smudges. That said, we recommend using the phone's built-in iris scanner instead. There's now a setting that activates the scanner as soon as you raise the phone. And if you hold it right, the phone unlocks instantly. It's the same technology we saw previously on the Note 7 and is a better alternative to fingerprints because you can still unlock your phone if your fingers are grimy or wet. Samsung also introduced a new facial recognition unlock feature, but it's not as secure as the iris scanner. Let's just say it's not completely foolproof. Also, like on the Note 7, there's now Secure Folder, which lets you store top secret files and apps. Just like you'd unlock your phone, you can access the vault with a PIN, pattern, or your irises. The S8 is Samsung's first flagship smartphone since the Note 7 issue, and since it's implemented its 8-point battery check. We honestly didn't expect Samsung to push very hard in the battery department this year, and indeed, they kept it on the down low. Compared to the S7 and the S7 Edge, the S8 and S8 Plus have similar battery capacities and the same quick charging features. There's wireless charging also, and a new wireless charging accessory that works both as a charging pad or charging stand. Samsung says while there are no capacity or charging boosts, battery life should improve by up to 20% even with its bigger display, thanks to the power management improvements on its new processors, which depending on where you are in the world will either be a Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 or Samsung's own Exynos system on a chip. Android Nougat on the S8, even while running several apps and games, feels snappy. All that power comes in useful to run one of our favorite features called DeX. All you need is this separate docking station, sold separately, a monitor, keyboard, and mouse. Just dock your phone, and it is now a desktop computer. We've seen this feature before on Windows Mobile, but not many had them. The desktop interface is very familiar. You click here to launch your apps. Open apps are docked here, and here is where you access settings and notifications. We ran Facebook, Chrome, Microsoft Word, and Google Slides side by side, and everything worked fine and without any noticeable lag. We couldn't believe we were multitasking on a smartphone. All these features come together to make the S8 and the S8 Plus some of the best smartphones we've seen this year. We've seen a lot of great ones, but Samsung has set the bar even higher. While we love DeX and its updated camera and selfie software, for us, the S8's biggest feature is great design. So much so that we think it's enough to tease iPhone users to switch.